Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends Podcast. The podcast designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. With me today is Hayley Uden. She has been on the podcast before. It was episode 257. We worked out that was April 2023, Hayley, so that was a long time ago. Now, Hayley, you're not in clinic anymore, are you? You're working at the university a couple of days a week, and you have kicked off something called HeyLucy, and that is what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to help promote the hell out of it so everybody knows what it's all about. So how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you, Tyson. Very good.
Okay. What is HeyLucy? Let's just dive straight into it. Let's talk about HeyLucy.
Done. So I like to explain HeyLucy is as if Uber and dating app had a baby. Ooh. That is HeyLucy. So we are your fully automated online allied health locum platform. It's as simple as a clinic needs a staff member to fill a shift. They post the shift to the platform, and then our locums who are registered on our site take said shift. We make it easy after that point. All the invoicing and pay and everything's automated for the clinic and the locum. And it's that simple. So we are aiming to fill what is becoming, and I know you would have talked about it a lot, Tyson, about the staffing shortages that people are experiencing.
Yeah.
And we want to make it as easy as possible for clinics to keep being clinics, because I know the stress that's out there, and even easier for locums to maybe take up locuming as an option for them. Because up till now, we don't have a central database for locuming. If we just talk about podiatry on its own, there's no sort of central list that you can run down and think, oh, I'll give that person a call. We've all got various little black books and things and friends that you ring when you need someone to cover your clinic, but there's no central location for this information. And also, it's challenging. When someone rings you and says, hey, can you cover my clinic next Friday? I've got something on. There's always these awkward conversations of, well, how much are you paying per hour? And do you pay super, GST? All these questions come up that people often don't know the answers to. So we've simplified it for everybody to make it really transparent.
Because I have seen in the past where somebody might post something in one of the Facebook groups. Oh, I'm moving this area. Is anyone looking for a locum for a couple of weeks or a couple of months? Or I've seen somebody else say, hey, we're thinking about going away for a couple of months. Does anyone want to come and do locuming? But it's all like word of mouth, or they might go to an employment agency and say, hey, I'm prepared to do this. But it's very messy. And being a past clinic owner, I never used to worry about it because it's just too hard.
That extra thing on your list that you think, I don't know enough, this is too confusing, I can't be bothered. The other thing with using agencies are that there are some fairly large restrictions. Some of those being for a locum, when you take a locum position through an agency, they actually put a block on you being able to be employed by that clinic. So just say you go along to this rural location and you do this wonderful 2-week locum experience and you think, gee, I really like this place. I would like to work here, and they need an employee. They actually put a restriction on you being able to do that. And from the clinic's perspective, they make them pay like a stipend amount for that privilege. So it can be up to a couple of grand for you to say, okay, I'd like to employ this locum to my clinic, which I think is not fair for anybody. I think employment should be an open process. So there's that restriction. There's also, when I was a clinic owner as well, we looked at having a locum for a day, and the administration cost to the clinic for having that locum for a day meant it was no longer worth me having a locum for the day. We would have been in the red that day per hour. So we think clinics pay enough money. Everyone with a clinic, your hands never come out your pocket, do you? You're throwing money at everybody. So I think less fees to clinics, and that might mean that we have slightly higher wages for locums potentially as well, because there's not that administration burden that's required. So it's also a really good opportunity for locums to try something new, which I think would be great, because you might not know which area of podiatry you want to settle into just yet, and you want to try some different style work. As you said, you might be moving to a new location and just not sure which clinic to be employed by. So maybe you might want to do a bit of locum work around and meet a few different colleagues. So locuming gives you that benefit as well.
Yeah, I can even see it, people that own a business who want to have a bit of a holiday somewhere different. I go, I wonder what it's like just to live somewhere else, and they go somewhere for just a couple of weeks in an area that they like and almost have a holiday and work at the same time. My niece is a nurse, and usually when she gets her holiday breaks, because she loves being a nurse, she actually does locum work at different parts around Australia and absolutely loves it.
Other professions have this capacity already. So nursing has had this locuming style platforms for a long time. So do medicine. And obviously our trades have it. They could pick up work on hire pages and things like that around the place. But we just didn't have it for allied health. So when we were traveling, we went on a 3-month caravan trip with our children from Adelaide to Queensland. A lot of driving. And
very brave.
It was very brave. Every time I discovered I'm more of a hotel person, Tyson, on that trip.
Oh, yeah.
Caravan, probably not my passion. We did some amazing things, but every time we stopped somewhere, I thought, gee, I could do a day's work while I'm here. I'm in a rural location. I know they probably would need it, but there's no one to call. I didn't know how to seek that out. So you could go on a traveling holiday like your niece and plan your holiday as to where you'll locum next. Because you can search nationally through our program. You might be thinking, I might go to Tassie, which we hope more people do because they're so short-staffed in Tassie. Yeah. Go down for a Tassie holiday and work for a month while you're down there as you hop around.
What I like about the idea is, like you mentioned, Tassie. And as soon as I think Tassie, I think food, because they have amazing food down there, fresh produce, wine. So you can go down there for a bit of a foodie and wine holiday and at the same time work in a couple of places. And Tassie's not hard to get around. So it's the best of both worlds.
Most of us are podiatrists because we got into it because we like to help people. We know that's the type of people we are. But it's also a really good feeling to help your colleagues. And when I locum for my friends and colleagues here in Adelaide at the moment, you get a different sense of enjoyment out of the day. Yes, I'm there being a podiatrist, but I know that I've covered for so-and-so who really needed the break, is having a holiday finally, or maybe they're having sick leave because they've been so sick. So it gives you a really warm and fuzzy feeling that you've actually been able to help one of your colleagues in a profession that we want to support. So I think it's probably the best enjoyment that I've had from a workplace is knowing that extra level of help that I've provided. It does make you feel really good. It does. A bit like a superhero in to save the day.
So I was going to say, so this is an app that's on the phone.
Yes.
At the moment, it's only available in Australia. So anyone listening overseas, just get excited about it, but it's not there yet.
Yes.
I want to point out to people, you're not paying me to be on the podcast. I asked you to come on the podcast when I heard what you were doing. So this is purely just to let the profession know that this service is currently available. You can download the app and you can start using it.
So available from the Apple Store, as an Apple app, also from the Android store, and you can also access us straight from the web browser. And you can give us a call as well. So we actually do a fair bit of hand holding at this early stages. So when clinics in particular have multiple sites that they operate from, we actually help onboard you so that you have access to a dashboard. And from that dashboard, you can manage all your clinics in one stop. We help people come on board. If you're a clinic owner with multiple locations, we do that with you. But anyone can sit on their couch at 9 o'clock at night and download the app and start putting their profile together.
If you were a podiatrist, like in the UK, and you'd say previously been in Australia, or you wanted to work in Australia, it'd be another thing that you could at least reach out to some of these places through the app and at least start talking to people.
Everyone always asks me, what do you need when you're doing this style of work? So we have a lot of information on our website, but when you go through the onboarding process as a locum, you do need to upload your relevant documentation, your APRA number, etc., so that we check that to make sure that you're rigid.
That's a good idea.
So clinics know that's all been updated. And as a clinic, you also create your profile. You can put pictures, you can talk about what type of clinic you are, what kind of software or what kind of assistive technology you use in your clinic. So any locum can look at your profile and check that's the type of clinic they have experience to work in. So everyone's profiles are up there to look at it at any time, a little bit like a dating app, except you're not swiping sideways. So you can see who the locum is, what they're about, and also vice versa for the clinic. And to do that, there's no cost. So no one pays anything to be on our platform either, which I think is worth pointing out. So you can set up your profile as a locum or a clinic at no cost, and clinics can post a shift at no cost. The only time a cost is incurred is at the end of a shift being filled. But that's all stipulated, obviously, in the app and on our website. So there's no harm in having a look, getting your profile up and seeing if there's any shifts you might like to look at. So there's definitely no costs involved in any of that process.
Okay. Yeah, I might jump on there myself.
We'll get you up there. Well, we were talking about before, Tyson, all these holidays you like to go on.
I told you, I would go to Norfolk Island. I'd go to Hamilton Island. Anything that's got island in it, I'd probably go and work there for a little bit just for a bit of a break.
So if I get a request coming through from an island, I know where to send it. I'll get you set up on the platform. We'll get Tyson out to you soon. If you're in an island, you might have to visit him.
Kangaroo Island, that's an island. What I was going to say, and you said when we were talking off air that the clinics put in the price range that they're prepared, or that they want to charge. This is how much we're prepared to pay. And the locums put in, this is how much I'm prepared to take to actually work. And therefore, the app links them together like a dating site.
Your preferences are loaded into that background, so it helps with the filtering of what shifts you're seeing. It's also really handy because as a clinic and you're putting up your shift, you start playing around with the hourly rate into the box. It automatically starts calculating underneath what the super contribution will be, and also if any GST requirements there. So you can see all that in real time. So if you think, I think today I can afford $60 an hour.
Yeah.
And then you see what the other requirements are, you might be like, actually, maybe I could afford $70 an hour and see if I can attract someone quicker. So it's calculating all this for you right in front of your eyes so that you know all the information that you're providing before you get an invoice in the mail, so to speak. I think the real benefit here is that the clinics will set the tone for what they're willing to pay, and locums will start setting the tone as to how they want to work. So no middleman is interfering with the price, where as through an agency, they set the rate. Doesn't matter who you are. They say we're paying $60 an hour and that's it. And it will be the same often for a new grad versus a 20-year career person. We don't stipulate any rates. It's all going to be set by the marketplace. And because our fee, if we're talking about fees, Tyson, to be upfront, we charge a percentage fee to the clinic on the volume for the day, excluding the super. So at an agency, you actually pay a set rate per hour. So for instance, just a fictitious agency might say, look, we're paying, keeping round figures, we're going to pay the locums $70, but we actually charge the clinic $110 an hour. So you know that it's costing you $40 an hour of administration every hour. We end up coming in way cheaper per hour because we just charge a volume percentage, not an hourly fee. So I want there to be fewer barriers for clinics covering their books, because it's a horrible feeling. You're desperate, you need someone, you don't want to let your patients down, but you really need sick leave. You don't want to be hit also with excessive administration fees on top of that. So that's what we're trying to limit here.
And the other thing you said that I thought was great is the podiatrist gets paid at the end of each day. Is that right?
That's my biggest selling point. I even forgot to say it. So we have the capacity when a locum's timesheet's been completed, which pops up on the app, and you say, this is how much I worked and this was my break. The clinic then verifies it and says, yep, that's correct. As soon as that approval happens, we release money straight into your bank account. So as a locum, you can turn up, do your shift, and sometimes depending on your bank, you might have money in your bank before you even go to bed that night, which is awesome. So that's our pay next day feature. The benefit of that is that a locum goes away really happy. They got their money. They continue on their holiday or doing whatever they do with their life. And it also means for a clinic, you're not having to put them into you don't have to send all their details to the bookkeeper, who then has to put them into Xero, who then has to put them into payroll, who then has to pay them in your pay cycle. And that's variable. You might do your shift, but the pay cycle's not for another 2 weeks, or it could be a month cycle. So it takes all that onus off the clinic. There's no locum waiting for money. Everything's been paid, keeping everyone happy. So part of that, it's just about being as convenient as we can to clinics and keeping locums really happy so they get out there and share their skills. Because we talk about shortages, and I know that we definitely are in a tight spot right now. But if you look at registration data, there's still 6,000 of us registered. Some of those are non-practicing, but we're all out there. And that number hasn't dipped greatly over the last 5 years. It stayed around that 6,000 mark. So we're all out there somewhere, Tyson. I believe that we're working differently. I think a lot of us have dropped to part-time because of perhaps balance or parenting requirements or caring requirements. So if we can mobilize all 6,000 of us more intuitively, we could share the workforce better, because clinics are already under the pump, and getting a full-time worker now and even a part-time employee is just becoming harder to attract for lots of different social, cultural reasons. So I like the idea that we might be able to just mobilize and share the workforce better so that everyone's getting a bit of coverage. And obviously, when you get out there working as a locum, you'll start to meet new people, meet new colleagues, find different ways of doing things. It's a really great learning experience and networking experience. All of a sudden now you've got colleagues in Queensland that you know very well, and Northern New South Wales. So it's just a nice networking experience as well.
Plus, if you've worked with that person and all of a sudden we're going away around the same time next year, are you prepared to do it again? You can set up regular work. But I'd mentioned to you too that, like, I know a lot of podiatrists that have had clinics, had it for 20, 30 years. They sold their clinics. They're now doing other things. But they've said to me, oh, I'd work 1 or 2 days here and there. I'd work for a week. But they just don't worry about it because there is no central spot where they can just log in their interest and go, okay, now I will work a couple of days.
Exactly. I'm a little bit in that category at the moment. I've pulled the brakes a little bit on some of my clinical load. But every now and then you just get the vibe, don't you, Tyson? You're like, oh, yeah, I could do a couple of days. My back's feeling good. Everything feels all right. I could grab a couple of days. And so this gives you that capacity that you could duck in and out of the workforce at your choosing, which I think for anyone in the era of either maternity or paternity leave era, where you're juggling lots of hats, this is a wonderful way to return to the workforce without that. You're not locked in. You can pick and choose the work when you want. But then having said that, every time our school fees roll around, Tyson, I'm like, gee, I might go grab a shift somewhere just to top up that. I need to find a bit of money that we forgot about. So you can top up your income this way as well, which is quite nice with, you know, the cost of living and things going on. So it's a really nice way for people to re-enter the workforce or just stay involved in the workforce in the capacity that they want, rather than thinking, I really don't want full-time or part-time.
Say, for example, a regional area, and I'll just use Cairns as an example because that's where I live. But I know in Cairns, I think there's about 8 or 10 podiatry clinics scattered around the place. And I would have no idea, even if I was going, oh, I'm prepared to work a couple of days this month or a couple of days next month. There's no way other than having to reach out to every one of them individually and say, I'm prepared to work for a couple of days. And then you're going to go through, what are you going to pay? And you've got all that rigmarole you've got to go through. And I'm sure there's regional areas all around the country that are exactly the same thing, where there's a retired or semi-retired podiatrist who still knows what to do. And there's half a dozen clinics around them who are going, oh, I wish there was somebody that could work a few days.
And who might be a bit more flexible with that capacity to just pick it up at the last minute as well. And we know, like in clinic world, when you're a clinic owner, we know the types of leaves that come up. We've got maternity leaves that potentially occur that you need to cover, hopefully. You've got longer sick leaves if someone needs surgery or something like that. Maybe you're in a position to be taking a little bit of holidays that you would like to cover. So you can plan ahead with something like HeyLucy and be like, I need someone in November for 4 weeks, and you can have that person locked in well in advance. Or you've got that short-term capacity where it's 9 o'clock at night. You've just had your staff members rung up sick, and you think, oh God, what do I do with the diary tomorrow? Because I'm already in clinic tomorrow. you can put up the shift in a couple of clicks on your phone and just see if you can nab someone at the last minute as well. So you've got both ends of the spectrum to cover, like quick emergency covers versus planning for longer covers that you might need to attract someone.
Okay, I have a question. This might be a silly question because I've never done locuming before. But does the locum have their own provider number for where they are, and they use that for every spot they work at as that's my locum number? How's that work?
So our locum numbers still, your provider number still follows you per location.
Yeah.
So the way that works now is that you, through a website, or a lot of us just do it on our phone, you jump into your Proda account, which is also where you can manage Medicare payments and all sorts of things as a clinic owner. But you jump into your Proda and you literally say, there's a button there to add a new provider number. It takes, I think there's about 3 pages of select the following items and put in the clinic's address and a few other bits of details. And it instantly gives you a provider number, and you rock up the next day with said piece of paper.
So you can do it that fast.
Yeah, that they're instant.
Yeah.
The only provider number that's no longer instant is the one that new grads get first. And I don't know why, but it still comes in a snail mail. So that one actually arrives as in the mail and they can't work without it.
Yeah.
But after that first one, we can all jump into Proda and just spit them out as required because they follow your location.
Okay.
The next most frequent question, I should probably dive into it, not that I have the best solutions, is that clinics always ask, but how do I add it to HiCaps? And there is no quick turnaround currently. And lots of tech people talk about this. Why is this such a problem? There are lots of limitations, but you can't add it to your HiCaps usually without a 2 to 3 day or maybe slightly more delay. So if you have a locum who's coming and you've got time, you could have them all loaded up onto your HiCaps ready to roll. But if it's a short-term cover, you might not have done that in time. So I believe the official line is that you would invoice patients for the day and then they need to do their own Medicare rebate against the locum's provider number.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be automated on the system just yet. It's actually not too hard to do, but there are too many barriers between private health insurers, Medicare, HiCaps, that it just doesn't, there's no bridging of that at the moment. But it's a super quick process. It is crazy how
what I don't get about provider numbers,
you can't do that. Yeah.
What is through APRA, we have a registration number. Why can't our registration number be our provider number that just goes wherever we go? We have the same registration number. We don't have to change it. Makes no sense.
Or even like you said before, is there a locum number that you apply for? So that just becomes like almost like a mobile provider number. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs well enough, but there is still the onus on the locum to get that provider number, and then the practice manager will keep it on file, or if they've had time, they've loaded it to HiCaps and it's all working well in advance of the locum getting there. But yes, so your Proda account is where you do all that.
Which could be helpful too if you work somewhere and they said, hey, we'd love to get you back for another week next year, that once you've got your details and your provider number for that clinic, they keep that on file and can make the process easier in the future.
Yeah, because it's all location-based. If you've already been at that clinic, you've already got a provider number there, which is handy.
Before we go any further, I just want to take one step back and get you to explain to people how the name HeyLucy came about, because someone might be going, I did when we were first talking and went, I've got to ask, what is HeyLucy? Why HeyLucy? So
I get a lot of emails now addressed to Lucy, which makes me giggle because they think I'm Lucy. But so HeyLucy came about because when we're working with our branding team who were coming up with our brand and our colors and our name, they came back to us with a whole heap of very IT-based names, such as Cloud Connect, Locum Connect, like lots of very, very IT-based names.
Boring.
Yes. Yeah. And none of them were taking me by storm. And then during a branding process, which you'd be aware of, Tyson, you often make like avatars of the people you're selling to. Who are your clients? Like you can do in your clinic. And so we had two main avatars. It was the locums and obviously the clinics, because they're our two populations that we're looking after. And we had nicknamed the locums Locum Lucy. That was her persona. And the clinics were Locum Dave. That was the persona of the clinics. And you had to go through what age group, what are they about, what are they like? And so that's how that came about. And then when I was saying, look, none of these names are really grabbing me, the brand coordinator, Jason, he said to me, but do you know what we call it around the office when we refer to your project? He said, we all just say, HeyLucy, and everyone goes, oh yeah, that one, the locums. And it's an instant recall when they were saying it in the office. And he said, it's got a really quick recall. It has a nice personality. You can use the personality in your marketing over time. And so we went with it in the hope that it has a quick recall for people, because I'm assuming there'll be a practice manager at the front desk at some stage going, oh my God, I need a locum tomorrow. What were they called? Oh, it's Lucy. Their name's Lucy or something. There'll be some type of light bulb going off that we have a personality and that you call Lucy. Hey, Lucy.
I like that. I think everyone can actually learn something from that, is when you're thinking about whether it's your business name, is really sit down and work out who is your ideal patient, who are you talking to, and try and make it fit.
Yes.
Fit the people that you're actually after.
And have a good quick recall, because some of the names, oh man, if we're talking about IT, they were all to do with clouds. It was all Nimbus, Locum Connect and stuff. Oh. It's all about the cloud and it's all this fictitious.
Well, so sounds awful, doesn't it?
Yeah, just so hey, Lucy, here we are. So I'm hoping people have a quick recall when they think, God, I need help. Who do I call? And
well, I think the good part about it too is when we talk to our phones, I'm not going to say what we'd normally say to my phone, hey, whatever, because it will come on and start talking to me. Yeah. But I think that's like such a common phrase that I think it's with the marketing people who end up coming up with that idea with you, I think brilliant.
They did a really good job. I'll give them a shout out. They're called Argon. They are a company here in SA, and they were a joy to work with and did beautiful branding for us, Argon. So ARGON, we were extremely happy with the process.
Okay, what else do you want to tell people about it? Why should they use this service?
My passion always comes back to podiatry, even though we're allied health based. And I really want to be a part of supporting our profession.
Yep.
I really want to support clinic owners, and I'd like to think that we can retain podiatrists in our profession longer if we can be more flexible with some of the changes and needs that are occurring. And I think that's where we play a role. If my solution makes life easier for a clinic and it meant they could go to their kids' assembly or something like that they usually have to miss, or they finally got to have sick leave for their carpal tunnel that they've been putting up with, or all these things, I would like to think that's what we've provided, is just supporting the profession back to the profession. That's what I care about the most. And having been on both sides of being a locum and a podiatrist and a clinic owner, I'd like to think that I understand some of the pressures on both sides and where we could find a better solution and a better fit. So I just hope that I'm part of that solution so that we do support the next era of podiatry, because we all talk about students coming out and we have less students going in and all these things. And like we were talking about before, Tyson, it's so important we keep up with the times.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in allied health, there are some parts of us that don't keep up with the times in our infrastructure. So I'm just happy to be bringing an updated infrastructure that makes life easier.
Yeah, and that was why I got you on, because when I think it was through LinkedIn, I saw you must have posted something there, reached out to you. And then when we were talking, because we mentioned about maybe coming on the podcast, wasn't sure. Then I chatted to you, and when you said, I'm doing this, and when you told me why you were doing it, and that's why I thought, okay, I want to get you to come on here, because I know you're not making $1 million from this, which is why I said, come on the podcast. You don't need to pay anything to come on here. Just come on and share it, because I know it's going to help the profession.
Thank you so much for supporting us as HeyLucy and the profession, Tyson, because it does help when you do have a care factor, doesn't it? You know, that reason for doing what you're doing. And I truly believe that we can, and it sounds really dire, like save our profession to some degree as to how some people are feeling out there. I really think we can do things differently We can push the envelope into new directions in our profession. I truly believe our students are coming out with fabulous skills that I never had and won't have. They really are coming out. I know they need experience yet, but they are coming out with top tier education in terms of where they're going to start pushing the envelope and pushing us into a new era of podiatry. So I am hopeful that with the likes of something like HeyLucy, we can retain those new grads and keep them buzzing in the profession.
I love being around for so long. So 37 years, I've seen where it was and where it is now. It is changed. There's so much about it that has changed, and there's so much about it that has exactly the same. And I've commented before about how long it takes to get orthotics made, and I bang heads with the association. They know I'm not friends with them because I reckon they're boring and set in their ways. But anyway, but even last week's episode that came out, which was titled, "What Other Careers Are Podiatry Adjacent?" And when I was talking to Rebecca Roger about all that, we were saying we don't want people to leave the podiatry profession, but sometimes people don't want to be working full time. And I think what you're doing is also another career that is podiatry adjacent. You're now doing this locum app. You're still a podiatrist. You're still going to work part-time. You're still helping profession, but you haven't just left it altogether, which I think is great.
And I think most people out there, like you said, you sometimes feel that bug, or I could do some clinic work around here if I knew where to go. So we all still, I think at the end of the day, have a desire to be involved, even if it's not full-time, and assisting our profession. And I think locuming is a fabulous way to do it because you really are, you're helping the profession. I think giving it a title and a space where it belongs, and making sure that people understand it's a very useful part of our staffing workforce. If we can utilize it a bit better and differently, I think we can fill a lot of gaps.
I think this episode is fantastic, following on from last week's one. It's just it's a perfect add-on to what we were actually talking about. And I didn't plan it that way. It's just the way the episodes fall.
It's the podiatry gods. The podiatry podcast gods, Tyson.
That's it. But it's even even the podcast itself. The amount of students that I've had send me emails who have said, "Oh, I got in podiatry for this reason," but then they've gone through the hundreds of episodes that are available, listened to different people, and they've sent me emails just going, "I am so glad I chose podiatry. Yeah, my brother did physiotherapy, but I'm so glad I did podiatry because I can see all these different avenues on what we can do." And I'd love to be a student again now.
Their pharmacology knowledge, their minor surgical procedure knowledge, they really are coming out with a great skill set that they're going to hone and take us to absolute new levels in podiatry. So I have great faith in the students we're putting out. I really do. They're a great bunch of kids. And I really hope we don't lose them straight up when they hit some of those things that we've all experienced, but we're all still here, you know, where your first job might not have been your passion and you move on.
Yeah.
Or the first niche area that you thought you were going to love, you actually didn't love, and now you want another opportunity to try a different curriculum-based area. So I hope we just don't lose them straight up. And look, if they just want to surf and do a bit of podiatry, get in your van and go locum. Keep your work-life balance the way you want it to be, if that's how you want to live. I think that would be fabulous. That freedom, if they don't have a mortgage yet, would be lovely. Or rent your house out, go on a big traveling holiday. So I'm hoping just the freedom to choose your work hours as well might keep more of our pods in the profession. If they're feeling that, we've all felt it, that feeling of I'm a little bit worn out of people. The peopling and the helping is hard. It's hard being full-time, I believe, personally, as a clinician. So I think giving yourself, it's okay to take a slightly different approach to your work-life balance. And that might mean 2 days a week every now and then, or it might mean I only do half days. I did that for a friend. They rang me up and said, "Can you help me out over the school holidays?" In a beautiful location in Adelaide. We took the family to Moonta, which is a beautiful area of South Australia. So my husband was fishing, the kids had a great time. But I said to her, "Look, I'm just hitting a point where you can either have me do 2 full days a week, or I'll do 4 half days."
Yeah.
Because I can push through the morning, get to lunch and be done with the day. I'm just because I'm getting a bit older and my back and things like that. I know if I push the full day, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to be really feeling all those feelings. But half a day, give me 4.5 hours, I can do it like a easy.
Yeah, I'll have to refine what I said before. I could work anywhere on it that's an island and half a day at a time.
You hit the morning, I'm in a good mood, I'm there, I'm vibing with patients. We all know sometimes the afternoon slump can be challenging.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. I used to love, if I was doing just a morning,
yeah,
I don't mind. I get up early.
Yeah.
And I can just power on from 5 a.m.
Yeah.
through to midday, 1 o'clock. And then by the afternoon, I'd rather have the afternoon off.
Own.
Yeah.
And other people might want to work the other way. They're like, I really like sleeping and I like slow mornings and I want to go to the gym and I want to surf and I want to do all these things in the morning, but I'm really happy to work an afternoon. I think having these conversations are so important because we're all kind of, well, back when I took my first job, there wasn't an option. You did full time or you didn't. So I think giving clinics the capacity to be more flexible as well, because a lot of our structures aren't very flexible. But if you know you have a locum coming in, you can set up the shifts to match how it's going to work, I think gives clinics another avenue for employment as well. So it's not just all set for a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday type workplace.
Yeah, I can just picture a podiatrist, male or female, waking up early in the morning, going to the gym, going from the gym to the surf, having a surf, going up, having a coffee, having breakfast. And they're in an area they haven't been to, so it's almost like they feel like they're on holidays. And then, around 11 o'clock, moseying on into the clinic and doing the afternoon. And doing that, whether they do it 3 days a week to help out, but at the same time, have a bit of a holiday. And because I think with a lot of younger people coming through now, the one thing I hear is they don't want assets as much as what we did in my era. They want experiences. And I think there's a lot of podiatrists around that have clinics in parts of Australia that are amazing places and could offer great experiences for these people.
Yeah.
And make the profession really happy.
And this is it's the ultimate try before you buy. As you said, you might never have been to that location before. Find out you actually love being there. And PS is a great clinic to be a part of. And one day it could become your asset if that's where you're headed. So that try before you buy, and also for clinics to try a locum before they might want to employ them. I mean, you don't often get that experience to see them in action before, you've got your probation period and you're thinking, God, is the 3 months coming up? I don't want to miss it in case you want to move someone on gently. But this is that ultimate almost try before you buy. You've got someone wonderful coming through. You get to meet them, see them work, maybe tweak a few things, and then you could offer them a job if that's how it all comes together. So that ultimate try before you buy. And look, when we've just moved into a house that we've spent 2 years renovating, and we have created more space, Tyson, because I don't know if my kids are going to have mortgages or be able to afford a mortgage one day. So that concept of having assets has changed. And whether it be a housing asset or a business asset, it's changed in terms of people's
it's changed heaps.
Capacity.
Yeah. I know when I was younger, we had record collections.
Yes.
And then from record collections, it went to cassette tapes, and then you had CD collections.
Yeah.
Now, my daughter turned 21 last weekend, and I don't think she would own a CD.
She streams it and just pays a subscription. Yeah.
She doesn't own videos or DVDs because everything is streamed. And even if you want to buy them, you still buy them online. So
absolutely,
they're not into actually tangible owning anything. And I used to, you get software, and I got annoyed years ago when you used to go, "Where's the manual?"
Yeah,
used to have a hard copy manual. I could flick through the pages and scribble notes in, and now it's if you want the manual, here you can just download it. So it has changed, and I think the profession needs to change with the times. Everyone younger coming through is evolving and adapting to all that. So the whole profession needs to do that.
Need to change. And dire straits, if we're thinking about it, our poor clinic owners, and I say poor because I feel for them out there at the moment, without them, without small to medium clinics out there doing what they do and slogging some of the time the way they do, there is no employment. because we know there's only X amount of public positions that people can win. That doesn't vary greatly, but it's our private practices that keep our profession going. And if they all can't keep going, where do we go? Like, where do our new grads go? Where do our pods go? So we need to keep them going, and staffing is one of those ways that we can assist with that, so that they don't think, God, I'm just going to shut the door and walk away. I just can't do this anymore. So yeah, things have got to change. We need to mobilize our workforce. We need to share the workforce perhaps a bit better as well with something like this, and just support each other.
No, I think it's fantastic. So Hayley, I want to thank you for coming on here again and talking about HeyLucy. I think what you're doing with this app is fantastic. It's going to be great for the profession, and it'd be great, like 12 months time, get you back on and say, where did it go? You might have to charge you in 12 months though, because you might be, if I see you driving around a Porsche at the next podiatry conference, just drinking out of like a gold fluted glass or something like that, then I'm going to say, well, it's your shout.
Or if we bump into each other on an island, Tyson, that's when you know that I've done well.
Oh yeah, and you own the island. You go, I own an island. I need someone to come over here.
Isn't that the ultimate in the tech world, being bought out by some big player? But no, I will be here. We have so many more verticals planned. Obviously, podiatry is my baby. Physio's current and next big baby to push. And then we've got OT, there's speech, there's exercise physiologists, so we can support the multi-D environment as well. So that'll be the next part of the push into other areas.
Okay,
and
that's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, hey, so I want to thank you for coming back on the Podiatry Legends podcast, and I look forward to watching this space and seeing what happens.
Thank you so much, Tyson. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, see you later. Bye.